Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Phoenix Trading Strategies, where strategic knowledge and information allows you to trade successfully. Today is Friday, April 15th, 2016. It is 9:01 a.m. Eastern Time. For those of you that are here for the first time, welcome. And for those of you that are back, welcome back. Before we continue, let us go to the disclaimer. Disclaimer. Future stocks and spot currency trading have large potential rewards, but also large potential risk. You must be aware of the risk and be willing to accept them in order to invest in future stocks and Forex markets. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. This website or presentation is neither a solicitation or an offer to buy or sell future stocks or Forex. No representation being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed on this presentation or website. Past performance indicators or methodology are not necessarily indicative of future results. Being that said and done, let's go to the calendar. Okay, so we've had some information come. It was really light last night regarding news. You had revised industrial production for Japan, came out better than expected. You had Italian trade balance, better than expected. Construction output for the UK, less than expected. Trade balance for the euro, less than expected, not bad. Empire State Manufacturing for the U.S., much better than expected. Manufacturing sales for Canada were less than expected. And we're about to get capacity utilization rate, industrial production for the U.S., and then following that is consumer sentiment and inflation expectations, which no one really knows what's going to happen there. It'll be interesting. So we've got a few pieces of news coming out. The consumer sentiment should be interesting. That's for sure. So we got a few minutes. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we have. Let me move this one real quickly. Actually, it'll make it easier for us to move faster. Okay. So this is the 15-minute. Now this is the US yen. Now we have a power dot here on the 15-minute, and that's pretty powerful. Whenever that happens, it usually means down. So they must know something that no one else does right now. And that means that this was a big move, because this move already from top to bottom was 91 pips. From the looks of it, it looks like they're going to continue. So let's take a look at that, but let's also take a look at the Dow. I like the Dow to the upside, not to the downside right now. They're going to break above this level and move. And I think that at the open they're going to rally it, and it should come up to 17,869, which is not a bad move. It's about 50 points. This one is, you're looking at a stop loss of about 10 ticks. I don't think it'll come down any further, to be quite honest with you. I've looked at it on the higher time frames, and there's a power dot right there on the 60-minute. So that tells us that they are going to make the move to the upside. Pretty much, they're done rebalancing it to the downside. So when you go into the smaller time frames, like the 10-minute, you pull this down and you see that's the level. But in reality, it's because they're setting it up here. So I don't think this will come down. I mean, it's already broken through this level here. Should come up here. It'll be a little strange, but it looks like it'll go up. Risk would be about 10 ticks. And I also saw gold, which is a little strange. That's why I'm I'm hesitant about this trade. Only willing to risk 10 ticks on it max. Excuse me. Gold is coming down. See that there were power dots here, but I guess they pulled up and they came down. So that means that they're going to crash. And if gold does crash, excuse me, then at that point we should see the Dow rally. Now I don't expect gold to crash too much. Maybe another $4, if that. But they've already, they sort of spiked here and then pulled aggressively down. So I wouldn't be trading this right now. I don't like the aggressiveness of the trade. I think that we'll get a lot more value for this trade to the upside. But like I said, in this one, you shouldn't be risking more than 10 ticks. Your stop loss should be 10 ticks on this one. And this is interesting because, this trade, I'd like to say that this one was going to go down, but it doesn't seem to be that way. This level right here, this power dot that we're seeing, is not a real support or resistance level. Bad line. Instead, it is an extended line. Instead, this one is, they've used it, they've broken through it very aggressively. So once they break above it, it should rally. And they have used it as a support, but after it's broken. So, and as a resistance level as well. But usually they've broken through it very aggressively. So if the Dow is going long, then this one's going long too. And this one, again, we're looking at, I'd like to say 10 pips to the downside. I don't think that it would be anything else. And if I'm right, this thing's going to come up, because this is a little deceitful right here. And you can see how it's already making its move. So we've already broken even on that one. And this would be, I would say, the trade of the morning. And if this goes up, then the pound must come down. And it's already broken through this level. And this is a 240-minute level right here. So we would probably see the same thing for the euro. Yeah, see here in the euro we have this level. And again, this level has already been broken through. This is just a retest, but it's not really going to go long. It's going to come right back down. And I'd like to say that we could probably see a 20 pip move here, but I like the US yen more. As for the Aussie already started to come down. More likely will continue, but not too much, I don't think. The pound yen, this one is a little strange. I looked at it. I like to say it's following the yen's going to get stronger against the pound because the pound is weakening. Same with the pound Aussie. I think the pound Aussie is right for the fall. And that's because of that is primarily because of the pound weakening. But the US yen, we're already up a few pips on that, as you can see. Now here's where it gets tricky, because here at this level is where we need to see an aggressive move to the upside. And 5 minutes to the news, I think we're going to get it. So these two trades, the Dow and this one, are, I'd like to say, the best ones right now to be in. Yeah, the other indicators real quickly. Excuse me. Almost there. Okay, very good. So here, I'd like to say we have volume divergence from this point right here. But it began here. When they broke below, let me expand this out more. Excuse me. When it came down aggressively here, this was a candle from which it began. And then they retested it here. They'd already recovered, so this one is already made a move to the upside. I like it this way. Excuse me. Still haven't been able to shake this cough, but we're getting there. So here, see how the volume's coming in? They have more negative volume, but see how price action is not coming down? I have a problem with that, because it should have come down already, and instead it's just held. Now, slowly we're starting to see some bullish volume come in, still more bearish volume, but it hasn't really pulled back, and that tells me a lot. Also, you see how they've been using the trend dots here as support levels to slowly move up. That also tells me a lot. So that's why I'm more bullish in this move than I am bearish. Let's give it a minute. They're exactly waiting for the news. Real sweethearts. See, I'm not too trustworthy about the numbers that came out, so let's see real quickly. Excuse me. Okay. See, they came out worse. Not good. Capacity utilization rate came out negative. Industrial production came out negative. Lower than expected. However, the consumer sentiment one is the one that's going to really make it. And if they don't break below here, then we should see it bounce right back up. Excuse me. Yeah, this just a slight retracement. Nothing extravagant about this move. They have a lot of volume, because they do. 73 million, 74 million on the buy, 97 on the sell. There was a 23 million negative. But it hasn't moved enough to say that it's going to come crashing down. Far from it, it's holding. That's why I'm not sold on the bearish trade quite yet. I think it's just slightly trying to induce people to go short, and then they're going to come right back up. Excuse me. Yes, yeah, I won't risk. As far as I'll let it go. 108.83. I don't think it'll go down any further from there. So we have a pivot. So if anything, they would use that pivot to bounce right back up. Because we should have seen a much more aggressive move. And we didn't. Yeah, see, it hasn't gone down any further, and we have the trend stop right here starting to flatline. Excuse me. Which is right where this pivot is. So this one should hold. a minute. I don't like this pivot that formed here, but this thing should have reacted more and it hasn't. Go inside with mommy, go. Yeah, see, it's holding. And you have bullish volume in this candle. 38 million on the buy, 4.2 on the sell. But it's still holding. And we should have seen a reaction already based on the bullish volume for this thing to go up, which is what I'm waiting to see. No movement. And more bullish volume. Now, the fact that this candle has all that bullish volume that it has right there is significant, because even though it hasn't moved, what it means is that the next one will. Yeah, I'll explain how the indicators work. So these gold dots that you see here, these are what we call power dots, and what they do is that they show when the banks are going to begin to do their high frequency trading. So that means that depending on the price level that it plots and how they use it, they could use it as a support or resistance level or as a midpoint level. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that in this case, because they plotted on top, that they're going to use it as a resistance level. Not necessarily. The way that we looked at it was that they've broken through this level, and when they've broken through it, it's been aggressive, both to the downside and to the upside. So this retracement that took place is very, very minimal in how they reacted to the news right now. And this candle has a lot of more bullish volume than bearish volume. Now this one was bearish by 31 million, and it moved quite a bit. It had a lot. They did a lot of offsetting of orders here, because it was in the hundreds of millions. But in this case, it's 72 on the buy, 14 on the sell, and it hasn't reacted the way it should. It's been holding. So this sort of gives us an idea, more or less, how they're manipulating order flow by not allowing it to move the way it should, which says a lot in that regard, because I would have expected, based on the volume, for this candle to already come up at least 4 pips, and it hasn't yet. But it hasn't reacted to the downside when they've come in with slightly bearish volume either. So that's why I'm not completely sold on the fact that it is a bearish trade. Far from it. They're holding, and that means that because they're holding, they're going to come right back up. And when they do, it'll be, slowly but surely, but as you can see, they're already starting to react. You have a lot, you have 58 million on the buy net, out of the 84 and 26 million in orders that they've pushed through. So this just gives us an idea right now, more or less, how they are holding liquidity by not letting price action drive the market. But there's volume, and there's plenty of it in this case. So, and you can see we've made right now like 2-3 pip moves in this. It's slow, but it's it's effectively doing what it is supposed to do. I would have expected a much more aggressive reaction right now based on the amount of volume, but it's slowly coming in. So see there, it's starting to come right back up. So we're only down 4 pips now, which is really nothing. This thing should should react and continue its bullish move, and if it does, then we're going to see dollar strength. And if we see dollar strength, then we should see dollar strength across the board in all the other currencies. I just like this one more than the others because of the way that it formed. The trend stop here, as you can see, flatlined, and whenever you have this reaction here and you have volume divergence, the way we have it here, you have this reaction. They'll come down, retest, they'll fail to come down, and then they will move up. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So now we're down just 1 pip, or at break even, more or less. And if this continues, we should see them break this level. And once they break 109.07, then at that point, this thing should come up to 109.46, which is the trade that I'm looking for. And that's like 46 pips. 46 pips or 46 pips in the U.S. session. They don't come that often, because last night it was really, I looked at it and it was really weird. I wasn't really sold on trading because of the way that the market was reacting. But today, seeing this, the Dow is we're already up, quite a few ticks about on the Dow. The Dow is already starting to react to the upside, and that's why we're also seeing this react to the upside. So if the Dow moves 100 points, this thing moves 50, which is what I'm looking for. And that's basically how this trade will end up playing out. Now we still have time, because the next news comes out within 30 minutes. And right now, the U.S. indices are about to open. So we're going to see quite a bit of reaction in that regard. But so far, the Dow's already, positive for the day. We'll see how it opens right now. Excuse me. But I like the reaction of this trade, that it came back pretty aggressively. So that's good. That means that they're going to react appropriately and bounce right back up. Even though this power dot formed here, it doesn't mean anything. It just means the power dots just tell you that there is volume, momentum, and liquidity building up into a trade. So in some cases they use it as a resistance level, and in some cases they use it as a midpoint level, and it's broken through. So that's the reaction that we're seeing right now. Like I said, we're not, we're down only 3 pips, which is really nothing. 2 pips. After being down 10, I'd say we're doing pretty good. Now, here's the one thing that I don't like. See how they came up and the trend dot was right here? They're using it more or less as a resistance level. So we'll see if it breaks through it. It'll break through aggressively, and this is the pivot that we need to break through, 109.02. But it looks like it's going to break right. It'll go through it. So if it does, then at that point, that's where we should see, the reaction. But right now, it's just slowly reacting. And that's because the Dow just opened up and it's slowly reacting as well. It's not really doing much. It is going positive, but it's not really doing much. We'll go to the Dow a little later. I want to let that trade evolve more. This is the one that interests me for the morning, because I think this is the one that's going to give us the most the most result. I have to say they are taking their sweet time about this. All right, let's see, what are you going to do here? Excuse me. See, it's just holding. It's not really doing much. I'm okay with that. Believe me when I tell you. The Dow is holding as well. That's why this isn't really moving. Excuse me. Yeah, see, they came back to retest. But very minimal reaction to what it should be doing. You got 44 million on the buy, 72 on the sell, 28 negative, and still no reaction. Not as aggressive as it should be. And as the bullish volume starts to come in, if we see the candle react to the upside, that means that it's going to come right back up. But they're holding it. Well, we still have time. Believe me, if anything, we got time on this trade. The Dow came down a few points. That's why the reaction was the way it reacted. But I think that it's short-lived. I don't think it will hold. Only because I see the dollar strengthening across the board with other currencies right now. So this one's just going to slowly hold right there. It's not going to do much, but it'll do enough to keep us slightly busy. See how it came back? That's because of the bullish volume that slowly came into it. Not a big reaction, but enough. Enough of a reaction to hold this level. And so long as it continues to bounce up, our trade is solid. No swift reaction at all. It's just holding. Let's go into the smaller minutes. I actually want to see this on the 5. Give it a minute. Oh, oil? We'll take a look at oil. You mean for next week? You know, oil's... oil, oh my God. I love crude, make no mistake about it. We actually cut a great trade on it Wednesday night, or Thursday morning, actually, for the European session. We shorted the USDCAD and crude went up. And it was a perfect signal on the higher time frames. Crude ended up moving like around 60, 70 cents to the upside. Right now crude is down, but we'll take a look at it just as soon as this comes up again. Okay, see here we have power dots that formed here on the downside. The reaction as this one came down was not a bearish candle, it was bullish because it had bullish volume. 93 on the buy, 85 on the sell. This one, of course, came in with more volume, held. This one came up, and now they're retesting. So this is what I call the retest. But in actuality, we should see this thing come right back up. So now I'm more comfortable with the idea, and see how this volume bar came down right here. This is the second time they do it, but they came down a little aggressively. And it's an inside bar because it's traded inside this previous bar. So the fact that we have power dots here tells me to just be a little patient with it. And we have a pivot here and a pivot here. So a lot of support levels right here. And we should see this come back up because the Dow's already starting to react to the upside. And this one usually is a very good follower of the Dow. So right now it is just holding. And we still have 20 minutes before the next release of news. So that's why I'm not too anxious. But if it holds, then this will bounce up, and see how this volume bar came up with bullish volume. 10 million on the buy, barely 1 million, 0.7 on the sell, which is hardly nothing. But we still need them to come right back up. So we'll see how it reacts. I won't let it go beyond 1080, 108.83. Well, that is for sure. Sometimes these trades take forever, but our Dow trade is still positive. So in the futures, it's looking very good. But let me get to that real quickly. Let me remove these indicators so that we can look to the Dow. At least now we know how it's reacting here at this price level. Let's go to Let's go to the Dow. See, this one moved very aggressively to the upside, and it's still moving to the upside on the futures. That's why I'm not completely sold about the yen not reacting quite yet. I use NinjaTrader as a broker. For FX, I'm using FXCM. So long as the Dow, see how it broke above this level here? There was a pivot right here at 17,834. The minute it broke above it, it went to the next one. So it's been trading around here at 17,844, and you can see these pivots here. So the pivots are important because they map out the next levels, price levels that they're going to hit, that the algorithms are programmed to trade. So we should see this come up and hit this level, which it did, 17,852. It was pretty aggressive about it, and then it pulled back. But it still has a bullish tone to it. So I'm thinking that they're going to make a move up and could come up to 17,870. Another 30 points, which would be a nice trade, to be quite honest with you. That's why I feel that this trade on the yen will follow. See, this one's already starting to react. Not that many people believe, but in this case they better believe, because I think that this thing's going to bounce up and that they just came down to retest. So sometimes you just have to be patient and let them play their trade. And normally when we take a trade, usually we're off by it by maybe 10 pips, no more than that. See, the Dow's right back up on the cash. On the spot market, it's up 4.5 points right now. That's why in the futures it reacted positively. Excuse me. Give it a minute. It's the volume indicator, which takes up a lot of data. That's why it takes so long. See? So long as it holds, we're good. And because it held, let's see the volume indicator here. Yeah, see, this one had 19 million on the buy, 12 on the sell. So it was slightly more bullish by 7.4 million, which is good. And that means that this next candle should react to it and come right back up. If it comes right back up the 10 pips, then we know we're in good standing. But it's reacting off of the cash market, off of the Dow right now. And if the Dow's negative by a point, this won't move. The minute the Dow goes positive, then this will move. And everyone's waiting for consumer sentiment right now. That's why this isn't reacting the way that it should be. But it's holding. Yeah, the volume data is from Kinetic. The reason I use Kinetic is because Kinetic has all 12 top tier 1 banks, so it's unfiltered. If I were to use the FXCM feed directly, they don't put all the banks in their feed, in the retail feed. So you get distorted information in that regard. It's not complete, and that's what I don't like about it. So that's why I use Kinetic. It's $75 a month, but believe me when I tell you, it's well paid for. It pays for itself. because in one trade you basically recover it. Yes, it's a very good data feed, I must agree. Miserable Dow. In second. Oh, sure. I'll send you the link so you can contact them and connect. Yeah, see now Ariane is starting to slowly but surely rise to the occasion again. Now, we needed to break above these pivots, 89 and 90, 108.90, and if it does, then this trade should come right back up. I like the fact that it's holding at this level, that they came back and retested, and even though this has started with negative volume, it's reacting to bullish volume right now. So as the bullish volume is coming in, price action is reacting to it, which around this price level is important because this is a price level that they've chosen to rebalance their orders. So this is a good sign for us right now. That means that it should come right back up. Like I said, some of these trades sometimes may look tedious, and they are very tedious, but at the same time, you just have to wait, be patient. They'll unfold. You know, the Dow's starting to come back. It's only down half a point, which is nothing, after being down 5 points, and that's why this is starting to react. So long as the Dow goes positive, this goes positive along with it. And you have to realize that because the US yen is correlated with it right now. I was expecting the Dow to actually come down further, but it didn't. It held, and that's why I was content with the reaction. See, right now we're starting to come back. So long as it breaks above 108.93, I think we're good, because it would break above this trend dot, and that keeps this trade intact to the upside. But the reaction has been slow. We have to admit they have taken their sweet time about this right now. And we got 10 minutes before consumer sentiment. See, all it took was the Dow cash to go down 2 points, and this reacted 2 pips down. Now, sometimes the US yen will lead the cash market, but the futures is already pretty much in play, and I believe the futures is already positive for us. So, you know, we're still up 14 ticks on the futures, 16 ticks actually, 18 ticks. So the futures is coming up, and that's why this one's reacting to it. So the futures will drag the spot to the upside, and we'll take this trade right back up with it for us. See, it broke above the 108.90, 108.91, which is what I was looking for. Now from this point, it should come up, maybe make a resistance at 108.96, but it should come up another 5 pips from here, and then at that point, what it's doing is that it's setting up for the announcement. I think the setup is to go long, because it's already reacting to it. And the Dow is also getting set up to go long. Excuse me. 108.92, 108.93. Then we know we're good for the trade. Right now it's just holding. Then we have 9 minutes. Normally, if it's going to react, it'll usually set up minutes before the trade, before the announcement. So in this case, that's why I'm somewhat content with how it's reacting, because it's already reacting to the upside. And the Dow spot is up 5 points now after being down. So this is a good sign for us. Let's see how it reacted to this pivot right here. That's why we needed to break above and really run. The next level is here, 108.94, 108.93. And it's slowly coming back. It doesn't want to break it. It's having a real tough time with it. And the Dow came down. Now it's down 3.5 points. That's why this reacted right back down to it. Yeah, you got to know how they're correlated with each other. That's when you start to see the reaction. I don't like the way it's retesting this level. But that's all it's doing, is just retesting. Not a bad sign, because it still has bullish volume. See the bar right here? This dash in the middle of the bar tells you whether it's bullish or bearish. So this candle is bearish with bullish volume. That cannot exist. And you have the point of control. These dashes in the candle are the points of control where the buyers and sellers prefer to buy and sell at. So here, they were here in the middle or at the bottom. Here it's at the top, which is a good sign. But we need price action to react to it just as much. And there's still bullish volume. You got 49 million on the buy, 41 on the sell. I think they're just waiting for the announcement. And that's why they're making everyone just hold. And also the Dow's down right now 7 points. But like I said, I think it'll be short-lived. Down 9 points, 8 points. Down 6 points. So it's starting to come back down 5, 4. And that's why we're seeing this react as well. The same reaction that the Dow has, you'll see in the US yen in the morning. Now, sometimes that could be a good or a bad thing. You don't want them completely correlated with each other, but in this case, we got a pretty strong support level. Down 6, but the yen is moving up. They're just waiting for that announcement within 5 minutes. You see, we're right back up to 108.90. So it held. It didn't break below. That is what I was looking for. This is the second time they retest this level, and the power dots are still forming to the upside, which is a good thing. And since the power dots formed above the low, that's even better. So that's why I'm saying we just have to wait and hold here. And we got 4 more minutes for the announcement, so should be interesting. Yes, I know it's at a monthly and weekly resistance, but I think that it's going to break slightly. You know, I believe that there will be a breakout to the upside, and they'll take profit, and then they'll come right back down. So that's why. And the yen is proving it because it's reacting to it right now. See, if I'm right, the yen will come up 50 pips. And we should see the Dow move up just as much. 50 points, maybe 60 points. And that's as far as it'll go because it is at all-time highs. I agree with you 100%. Let's see, remember I told you 93, 94 is where we're going to have resistance right here. We've been here before, so we need this to break above that level. If it breaks above this level because of these pivots right here, this pivot right here, then at that point it'll come up. And when it comes up, it'll come right back to our entry and then come right back up and should give us a nice run. But I like the fact that it broke the trend dots here. It's broken the trend, so it's on its way up. We're in good standing. And 2 minutes before the announcement, I think it'll react favorably in our direction. And the Dow is up now 3 points. So they're more or less already setting up for it. Come on, get above. Come on, you're almost there. Break above it and we're good. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Now it should come back in our favor. And we still have a minute left before the announcement. So that puts us in a good position. As long as it stays above 108.95, we're good. 1 minute left for the announcement, and this thing is still moving up. 109, 108.96. Come back to our entry. Perfect. That's what we needed to see. And the Dow is down 3 points. So the yen is going to lead the Dow back up. Ooh, reacted very aggressively to the downside. Now, time to book. Let's see if, oh, we have a pivot. Nice, right here. It held. Let's see how much does it, how well does it hold here. The Dow's down 8 points. This one reacted very aggressively to the numbers, so let's see. What are the numbers? Yeah, see how it's still holding, so I'm not too concerned about it. It's overreacted to it. Let's see. Consumer sentiment was down 89.7. They were expecting 91. 2.7 on inflation, so it stayed the same. So we're still good in that regard, but it came down to the level that I didn't want it to come down to. And that means that it's time to exit the trade at this point. Well, yeah, because it's just going to, it'll hold, but I'm not happy about where it's holding because it's not going to be favorable for us. They reacted too aggressively to the numbers, and they're just doing a flight to quality. But it may bounce back up. Who knows? You know, let's see. I'm not too. It didn't. Even though the reaction was just 10 pips, which it was, it's not as aggressive as I would have expected it to be. But It's still slowly coming down. Now this one has bullish volume. Interesting. We have 89 on the 90 on the buy, 80 on the sell, 10 million bullish. So it's holding. So if this stays bullish, then we should see it come right back up. I'd like to wait and see. I'm not sold on that concept yet. $101 on the buy, 88 on the sell, 90 on the sell. It's reacting to the bearish volume that's coming in, even though we have bullish volume in this. 93 on the sell, 103 on the buy. So it's not a good reaction. Now it's time to exit. Time to scratch the trade. It reacted to, it's going to continue to come down, unfortunately. Now, here's the thing. Since we, since it did come back to our entry, and it held there, right now it's not going to react too much. I don't really think it'll come back down too low, but it's not enough to convince me to stay in the trade, because far from it, it could just continue to come down. And we're talking like another 10, 15 pips, which I was not willing to give up on this trade. They just reacted too aggressively to it. See? Now here it's holding, and it's been here before, but there's no guarantee that it'll bounce right back up. That's why I decided to exit. But they did set up for the news, so I gotta give them that much. They went long to try and induce people, and then they pulled it. The Dow is down 17 points. So yeah, they played this one really nicely. See, it's still gonna go down. I'd like to say to 70, 108.70, and then hold. Because usually they've been moving 20 pips to the news, and then they retrace right back. I haven't seen a 30, 40 pip move on news like this right now. It just hasn't happened. Let's see what other reactions we have here. On the 60-minute. Actually, the pound Aussie is one that I was curious about, but not quite yet. See, this is a high-frequency bar. They threw everything at this thing. 191 on the buy, 190 on the sell. Now, it had bullish volume. That makes this candle dangerous, because if this candle doesn't continue, because this was bullish, this thing will come right back up. See? See how it reacted? Normally when they do something like that, they're pretty predictable in that regard. Now, it's not going to come back a lot, but I should expect it to come back up at least to 108.83. Based on how this candle came in. But I would not risk more than, I would actually wait for this to break above 108.78, 108.79. Because it may not play. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, so that's why I'm saying sometimes it's better to just wait, just hold. But again, we go back to, they're not reacting more than 20 pips on a trade, on news announcements. They move and then they bounce right back up, which is something which I really not agree with. It's been really annoying to see them do that. Yeah, see, it didn't play. And it has, this one has negative volume. It has 34 on the buy, 58 on the sell. It's reacting to the bullish volume as it's coming in. See how it came to 37 to 58? It started to react. It's starting to come up, but we need more. 43 on the buy, 58 on the sell. So as the bullish volume comes in, we're starting to see a reaction to it, and now it's at 108.78. 108.79 is the one that I favor the most, 47 to 58. So now we have less bearish volume, more bullish volume coming in, 50 to 58, but it's not reacting as we would expect it to. 51 to 65, 52 to 66, and yeah, it's for me, it's just not reacting quick enough. It's holding, but it's not doing much, and I don't like the fact that it's still bearish. We still have 2 minutes on this candle, so we'll see how it reacts. We'll see if it holds. 54 to 74, you got 20 million negative. It's still holding, which is good, so we'll see how it reacts to the more bullish volume coming in. If it continues to drive up, then we know that their intention is to come right back up. It's above 108.78. If it breaks above 108.79, then we're good. There it is. Now is where we should see it make a move right back up. This is where it becomes interesting sometimes. That 108.80 is the number that it doesn't want to break. Yeah, it's not going to break it. So I'm not confident about getting in it. And that means that it's going to come right back down even further, but not too much. They've decided to make this their support level here, but we're not seeing the reaction that we should be. So no trade here. Let's see, it's holding. The Dow is down 26 points. And this reacted to it, but let's see how well it holds. Okay. Here's the next move to the downside. That's what I was curious. Let's see what happens here. Excuse me. Yeah, the Dow is holding at 29, but it's not doing much for us here. This was more a flight to quality type of trade. Let's see the volume. It's more or less evenly, but I wouldn't take this trade. It's too dangerous here. Don't have enough signs to give me what I'm looking for. Let's see if we have anything else. Pound Aussie was interesting. I looked at that one earlier. This one's just going to continue to come down. Give it a minute. Yeah, that monthly and weekly level was a real doozy on that one. But also the numbers just didn't come out. You know, this right now consumer sentiment, you know, they take this number very seriously, and they react to it very aggressively when they do trade it. That's why, you know, when it started to rally up, I was somewhat concerned, but at the same time I wasn't too much, because I knew that they were going to okay, hold on, I'll come up in a minute. Yeah, they may be just taking profit today, quite honestly. They may be just taking profit. Hold on, it'll come out right now. Give it a minute. Okay. Yeah, see, this one didn't move up. It's the second time that I've seen it here. And let's remove some of these indicators so we can go higher. See, this one has power dots right here. I think that it's getting ready to fall, but it had not set up quite yet. I think that we may have found it right now in a perfect moment. So this is a 60-minute. So let's go down. Let's look at the 45. See, we have power dots on the 45-minute as well. We have on the 30, let's see. It's bouncing off of that level right there. See it? This is the open. And so if we were right about this, then it should react to the downside. Because it's holding right there. So here is another level. And this is off of a 30-minute. So that's 2 points of resistance that it's trading against. Go down to the 20. Nothing here. And usually the higher time frames, the 60 and a 30 is very significant. The 15, not much there. The 10, holding, not really overreacting. And yeah, see how it's navigating around that level. Not doing a lot, but just holding. And that is significant. I think that once it goes before 84.20, then I think we're we're going to be in good standing. 84.23. This trade, we could take it. See, there's a pivot right here at 84.22. Once it breaks below that pivot, then I'd say we're good. Until that happens, that's where it's tough. So if you wanted to take that trade, I'd say the minute it breaks below 84.23 to 84.22, I think you're in good standing. And then it should come down 84.04, possibly to this, 8400. 18400, because that's where this next pivot is at. There's nothing there, and then possibly to 183.93. So where it's currently trading right now is a little bit concerning, just because, but we have two levels of resistance, a 60 and a 30 minute, and that's multiple time frame confirmation that this is a good resistance level. So we just need to see this react to it accordingly. And if we see the reaction accordingly, then I'd like to say we found a decent trade. Let's see here if it goes below into 23. No. Has to go at 80. Has to go down at least 2 pips. 2 pips is what I'm looking for. There it is. That's the reaction I was looking for. And now from this point, we should see it come down even further. See? So the resistance level was good, and it broke below. So now, I'm a little late in selling it, but I could still get in it. I wouldn't risk more than 10 pips on it, to be quite honest with you. But that's as far as I would go. So let's see if it comes down further. No, it's holding. Not doing what it was supposed to do. Still holding around this level. So we'll see. Maybe it's just retracing and retracting, but not slightly. You know, this one is one of those where you just have to watch, because this one can sometimes be a very aggressive currency. But it's holding at that level pretty steady. So let's add the other indicators to see if it maintains. It's testing that 184.23 level, and it's not breaking below it. Excuse me. But I do like those 2 resistance levels at the top that we found. That's actually a good sign. So this is where it's going to get really interesting. This might be the trade that, that makes up for the others. It's just a little bit too reactant. Come on. Give it a minute. Whoa. Come on. You're making us miss out. Play nice. Okay, so it's still holding. That's a good thing. It's not, so long as it maintains and comes down from there, we're good. Because that means that it's respecting these price levels that they've already assigned to rebalance against. So if it comes back down 4 pips, we'll be okay. I'll be satisfied with the reaction. Then I could say, okay, it's going to come right back down. Might not be a big trade, but it'll be enough to, again, I would expect it to come down and test 184 even. So we're talking 25 pips from here if it does react accordingly, which it should, but let's see. Slowly holding. And so long as it holds, I'm okay with that. Because this level is one of those where it's going to test and bounce from and test and bounce from. But with all the high frequency volume that they've put into it, see, this is it started as a bearish candle. It had more bearish volume, but it closed slightly bullish. And then this one's already reacting to the downside. So let's see how it's going to, here's where we're having trouble, 84.24, 84.23. And that's why it's not. If it breaks below that level, then that's when we'll know we're in good standing. And that's where it's holding off from breaking right now. So here it comes, 84.25. 84, go to 84.23. Come on, test it. Be a good little soldier and break below. 84.22, 84.23. Come on, you're almost there. There it is, 84.23. There, it broke below, and as long as it continues onto the downside, we are good. And like I said, there's nothing holding it, so the next pivot is right here at 84 even. We need it to continue to stay below that level. Otherwise, nope, not happening. All right, we're gonna have to scratch this. It's not gonna play. They're gonna hold. They're using it as a support level. See, we needed a swift reaction to the downside, and we didn't get it. So they're going to play around this level. I still think that here is where they're going to choose their, they're going to play around this. They may come up to 184.46, which is another 20 pips up, and test the 60-minute level before coming down. But I wouldn't be going short right now, not because it came down and settled right above the trend dot. And whenever it does that, that's why I said we needed it to go down below 84.20 and hold below that pivot. It came right back above it. Not a good sign. Not a good sign. But it's holding, and that's the only good thing, is that it's holding that level. So it may be one of those, may take some time before it develops and plays out, but I'm just not willing to wait around for it right now. And let's go to the Dow. Let's take a look and see where the Dow's at, Dow Futures. Because we're right back at break even on this thing, more or less. It did come down again. So that's why I said I wanted to let this trade evolve, because I've, the reaction to the news is reaction to the news. And with bank earnings coming out as positive as they came, I didn't think it would maintain and hold. So we're starting to see that same reaction take place here. And if this one does come up again, it may come right back up to 17,850 and just hold. Those weekly and daily resistance levels, monthly resistance levels are the ones that are really maintaining. But so far so good. Not a bad, and it never went against us more than 10 ticks, which is what I told you it wouldn't because of this pivot here. So let's see how this one reacts. Nothing doing. Nope. Let's see where this goes. Okay. Lee, what prices do you have those resistance levels on the weekly and the monthly? And see, for being at a monthly and weekly resistance level, this thing should have come down a lot more. I looked at it yesterday and I wasn't sold on it kept crashing down 100 points, and it didn't. It hardly came down at all. And the Dow cash, after being down 30 points, it's only down 11. The futures never went down more than 10 against us. So let's see. Ooh, now that's a nice one. If it breaks above this level, then we're good. Otherwise, we're out. I like the pivot that it formed right here. This is a good sign. And it closed with bullish volume. So this is telling us that they're going to maintain. If this one maintains, we're good. 17,830. I hate them. Thank you so much. Oh God, because we broke above 17,830, and then it came right back down from it. Now, if it breaks above the weekly and the monthly levels, this is going to run. You know that. So we're up 5 ticks, 6 ticks. Volume is slightly bullish. Nope, negative. Slightly. Evenly matched. More bullish, 159 on the buy, 149 on the sell. 177. Ooh, nice. 184. Nice. The buyers are coming in to drive it. 191 against 162. Not bad. 194, 195. Keep going. But we're right at that resistance level. And the point of control is reacting. The buyers are buying up here. Oh, really? Let me see. Let me open it up. That pound Aussie trade, huh? Let me look in my other chart 1 second. There. concentrated on this one right now. Oh, it did. It came right back down. Look at that. But I would actually take profit on that trade on the pound Aussie right now because it's not going below 184.20. You know, it's retesting that level too much. And I was expecting it when it came down originally to really break below, and it didn't. And right now it's just holding. So I'd be careful about it going down any further. I mean, I was looking for a 26 pip trade on that thing. You know, to me it looked like it was going to come down, but it didn't. And now it's just, you know, holding there. 184.14 is acting as support exactly. That's why I don't think it'll come down further from there. But we call it a nice trade though. The resistance levels were beautiful on that thing, I have to admit. Now, of course, we're doing pretty well here on the Dow. We're up 12 ticks, 11 ticks. See how that pound Aussie bounced right back up? That's why I said don't think that it was going to react too aggressive to the downside. It wasn't. And this trade, we're sort of stuck right now. The Dow spot is only down 5 points after being down 30. So they're starting to make a comeback. You know what, the one that I would be really curious to see right now is the yen. And the yen is bouncing right back up. Make that 18,334 on the monthly and 1853 on the weekly. Oh, okay. Well, we went to 1853. That's where it bounced right back down from. We're doing pretty decent on this trade. It's not too bad, but I wanted to really break above that 17,853. Which would be right here again. We'll see if it comes up to it. You know, because it hasn't moved this much, I don't really expect a big reaction. But we'll look at oil right after this trade, because I want to see what crude is setting up to do for next week. Yeah, see, it's not doing much. It's time to take what we can get off of this trade and be done with it. I think you're right, Lee. I don't think that they're going to allow us to go any further. Not the reactive trade that we were looking for, but it was reactive. You know, it may come up. I'm just not sold on it. It may come right back down like with a vengeance. Let's take a look at crude. Crude should be interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at crude. See, they reacted to this level. This was a very big level for them. All right, let's remove these. And let's go high and work our way down. See, on the 720, I drew this because there was a level, I believe it was here on the 1440, right here. Let me move this line. You see that power dot right there? We took this trade Wednesday night. Shorted. We didn't short it. We shorted, no, what was the trade that we took? There was another trade that we took Wednesday night. It was long, wasn't it, I think? No, it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. No, it was long. It was on a different time frame. But we saw this, that it was setting up to go short. Now we know that it reacted to it. Now this is a good sign because this is a daily level. If it shows on the daily level, this resistance level, that means that we should expect oil to come right back down to 38.37. That would be the next level. And then after that, I think it's right for a $5 drop, based on this. But let's continue. Let's look at the higher time frames. Let's see. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, see, there's a weekly level right here. The daily formed here. Yeah, this is going to come down, and it's not going to be pretty for crude. Let's see if there's a month. No, there's a monthly. No. Let's see if there's a daily. The daily level is here, which they already broke below, and this is a 1440, which they already broke below. So the next level, based on pivots, is here, 39.87. If it breaks below that, 37.77, I'd say 37.50 would be the one that we're looking for next. This is a good option trade, actually. I think that it still has, there's room to play this option down. Let me add more data series to this. Every time I go into the higher time frames, it does this to me. 45 days. All right, let's go to the 720. Let's go to, yeah, this was the trade. See, it was right here. This is what went long and we went short. That was our CAD trade. Let's go to the 600. Let's go to the 480. Ooh, bouncing right off that pivot. Right there. So it's going to hold right there. But I'd say next week it breaks below and comes all the way down here, 39.22, 38.93. I think we're in for a good bearish move on crude. Everything indicates down, down, down. And see, the way this bar closed here on the 300 minute, it's a high frequency bar to the downside. And this one's just been coming down, and it broke below this pivot. So the next one is here, 39.85. I like 39.27 more, but I don't see it coming down today, but it will. Next week, we should see it come down. This is what I wanted to see. Anytime that our indicators show what I call a unicorn power dot after, right before it's reacting, means it has to come down to this level. 37.24 is our target. 37.22, which is what we had, spoken about previously. So this is where our target goes. 37.22 is where we should expect crude to go down to. Let's continue to go down. Yeah. 37.22 is the one I'm more than 36.85. It's going to come down. It's definitely going to come down. Yeah, this was the trade that we took long and we shorted the CAD. We identified this one. And it did react to it, but now they've broken below it. And since they've broken below it, here's where this pivot was. I don't think they'll go down to 39.32. I'd be shocked. Not today, at least. It already came down from 41.71 to 40.19. That's a pretty big drop. So, no. I think that we'll see it next week. We'll see the reaction. We're not going to see it right now. Let's Let's see. Yeah, slowly but surely. We're starting to see the support level right there. 30, the 20-minute. Yeah, I don't see a trade in crude. It already happened. It already happened. This happened during the European session. They set this up right below this level, which is a daily level, and they came down from it. That's a pretty aggressive move. So yeah, no, that's pretty much all that we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. It was an interesting trading day. Didn't do too bad. You know, we'll send out the videos this weekend. I think you'll like the European session. We had a great session. That trade that we ended up identifying ended up coming down 100 pips. We got out with 20. I got out with 20 at least. I don't know if some of you held that trade, that USCAD trade to the short. But it was about a 115 pip move. It was a good trade. It was the only trade of the night that we could find that day. So yeah, sometimes it pays to show up to the room. When you don't do it, you miss out. And see here on the 20-minute is where we have power dots, and that's why this thing isn't breaking. Far from it. It's going to come down. Don't trade the down to the upside anymore. Look for a short trade. I don't think it'll come right back up. Lee's right. You got, resistance levels here at 17,853, and they don't want to break, and these power dots forming here make it very dangerous to trade against them. I wouldn't. That's weird. You know what? Send me an email. I'll send them to you direct. We're going to send them out probably tomorrow morning is when we'll send them out. We will post them on YouTube today, so you can see them on YouTube as well. They should be on, later this evening, but we will have them. We will send them out for you guys to review over the weekend. So thank you very much for joining us today here at Phoenix Trading Strategies. We will see you Monday morning. Have a great weekend.